Hi, this is Seth Harper,
And I'm Asher Callio.
and this is the Living Uncharted podcast. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, buddy.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Uh, uh.
Whatever that rest of that Eminem song.
We're back in the home studios. No more of Seth's echoey apartment.
Yeah, yeah, that's my bad, guys. For all of you who have either already listened to the bonus episode or plan to in the future, yeah, I
Just
don't
skip it entirely. No.
no. No, I would don't skip it. I think we had some pretty good insights in that one, but yeah, that's unfortunate that the audio was so bad. So, but hey, honestly, I was listening. So there's this other podcast I listen to. It's like the ESPN fantasy football podcast, and I was listening to them this morning, and so for a lot of fantasy leagues, the year is already over. Like, even though there's one more week left of the regular season for actual football, usually the fantasy season ends a week before that. But there are some leagues that don't. And I'm actually in two championships this week. So that's not the point of why I brought that up.
For those of you that don't know, Seth is kind of a big deal in the fantasy football scene.
I have many leather-bound books.
I wouldn't say legendary, but other people might say legendary.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Yeah,
It's
he
another
does that sometimes. He
another
does that.
Anchorman reference, by the way. So shout out to Will Ferrell again, who
Dude,
we're
wow.
still we're getting there, guys.
At some point, we'll have spoken into existence enough that we will actually cross paths with the legendary Will Ferrell.
It just Destiny says it has to happen now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the entire point of why I brought that up was apparently the three people, actually, I think it might have been four who were on this episode, were all recording from different areas and we're recording, virtually. And it sounded awful this week. Usually,
Yeah.
usually that podcast audio quality is really good. But this particular episode just wasn't good. I was listening to them in the shower, and that made it even more difficult to
Ooh.
understand what they were saying. So yeah, it just goes to show that even the best podcasts have bad audio quality every once in a while. So
Even the best fall.
to the ground. Yeah, I'm sorry you did not want to hear us singing. That's my bad.
Hey,
But yeah, this is first episode of the new year. So
dang, here we are.
that's a big deal.
2024. Man, I'm trying to think of something corny to say, but
Take the new year by the horns, guys.
it was really weird because the day after New Year's just felt such like any other day. And I was like, dang.
I mean, that's really what it is.
It's like the day after your birthday. Like, wow, nothing is different.
Yep.
Nothing has changed.
Exactly. Or like for me, I think the days leading up to Christmas are so much better than Christmas Day itself
Ooh.
because you've got like the anticipation and the suspense. And then especially like I'm just gonna say that like the week between Christmas and New Year's, I think
You
time
mean dissociation week?
yeah, I feel like most of you can agree with this that just nothing makes sense. Time doesn't exist. There are no days. No one really knows what they're doing anymore. You're just existing, kind of.
All you know is to eat a lot of cheese and just find a blanket.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And even
I don't know why the cheese, but just
well, why not?
it's Christmas in Wisconsin.
It's how about just Wisconsin, period.
Yeah.
Like
Don't matter what time of year it is. What type of year?
whether it's
Wow.
a good year or a bad year or a in between kind of year, I don't know. Anyway,
Good year like the tires?
that's right. I think I've got those on my car actually.
Nice.
Shout out to Goodyear. I
That
have
means 2024 is going to be good for you, I
that's
think.
that's right. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for thanks for being with us as we continue on this adventure of discovering what adventure means. We started late last year, and I don't think we have any plans to stop anytime soon. So
Nope.
here we are.
You're here to stay.
Yeah, buddy. So yeah, episode that we got planned for you guys today is a riveting story of
Yep.
valor, of
Whoa.
ingenuity,
Mm.
of
Of struggle.
yeah. Yeah, there was definitely some struggle in there. And no, we did not walk to Mordor, unfortunately. That would have been epic.
Because one does not simply walk
One
to
does not
Mordor.
simply do that. Shout out to Sean Bean, or as we like to say, Scene Bean or Sean.
Scene being.
Um,
Oh, man.
that's a good point. Like his name is inconsistent. His parents messed up. It should be either Scene Bean or Sean Bon.
Sheen Bon, I think.
Sure. Uh, we are not making fun of him, by the way. He's a great actor. So, anyway, the story that we're going to be starting for you guys today is about a trip that Asher and I took together almost 2 years ago now. It was,
Yeah. Yeah. Coming up on 2 years.
yeah, because it was spring break, so that would have been the middle of March or so. And Asher, I'm not going to speak for you, but at least for me, this was the most fun road trip I've ever done.
It was really good. This one and the one that I took with Daniel a couple years ago
Yeah. Yep.
was, yeah, probably top two.
Yeah. This one was great, and we'll get to some of the specific things that we did, but I think I'm trying to think of what the inspiration was for this trip. Because what we did was we took a week, we took up almost the entire week and just drove around the Midwest and actually made it pretty far east too.
It was only a week.
Yeah, we were only gone for a week.
Dang. It felt
Yeah.
like in a good way, it felt like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like we
No,
got we really saw a lot.
and honestly, I wish it probably could have been
Yeah,
2 weeks because we stopped in a lot of different places, and because of that, we weren't able to stay in any one of those places for a long time.
right.
But in that same sense, it it gave us a good, it was like a sampler platter of appetizers, you know. Like
The Midwest.
that's right.
It would,
Like,
it would
you
go
know,
lovely with a nice Pinot Grigio.
oh yeah, so no, no, can you get me a nice bottle of 87 Cabernet, sir?
I think you mean the Cabernet. The Cabernet Sauvignon.
Cabernet
A
Sauvignon.
choice wine, sir.
Hey, it's my choice, just for the record. That's my favorite wine, personally.
Cabernet. You're a cab guy.
I'm a cab guy.
More of a taxi man myself, but this is
Um,
bad, dude. This is bad. Let's
we're
get
we're
into the
kicking we
story.
are kicking off the new
Yikes.
year with a bang. But yeah, so this trip, we stopped in a lot of different places, and we took my van. We just drove around a lot in that. I know on that trip we put over 2,000 miles on the van, which
In a
was
week. That's
yeah,
pretty
that
that's
was
pretty
insane.
insane. And you're still driving that van, aren't you,
I
sir?
am
Yep.
somehow. It's gone through some issues since then, and unfortunately the check engine light just went on yesterday, but we're gonna choose to ignore that for now. Um,
We were driving in it a few days ago and I saw the maintenance required light was on it. And I was like, yeah.
well, that one I actually know why that's there, and that one doesn't bother me at all because that one just turns on whenever you need an oil change, and but you have to manually turn it off. And I know how to do it, or at least I've done it before, and I just since I know what it's for, I don't bother to shut it off. But yeah, no, that
Whenever
van.
I had a,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, van's still chugging along somehow. Olivia,
She
but
just don't know when to quit,
she does not. And
which is good.
honestly, lucky for
Good
me,
quality in a
'cause
car.
I cannot afford to buy. Definitely not a new car, but I couldn't even afford to buy a different used car at the moment.
It's
So
coming.
I know. Just got to get through this winter. But
We need another pandemic to hit so we can get
don't you
that
even
sweet, sweet
say that.
stimmy. That sweet, sweet stimmy money.
Uh,
Uh,
I can't even think
I
about that.
kind of can't even believe I said that because that's like
I I'm
one
a
of the
little
things I'm most afraid of.
that I blocked a lot of that out of my memory, honestly. Just the fact that that happened. The other day, there's this other podcast I listened to, and I was going back and listening to some of the episodes from the COVID period, and just like some of the comments they were making, I was just like, you know what? I don't really want to remember this.
Yeesh.
Anyway, so yeah, we take this trip. We took my van and we hit a lot of different places. We'll go into detail as we go along, but I'm just gonna give a quick rundown of all the places that we stopped in. So we started in Indianapolis, then Cincinnati, Louisville, Knoxville, Tellico Plains, which most of you probably haven't heard of that, but just a small town outside of the Smoky Mountains National Park. From there, we went to Nashville, Memphis, St. Louis, and then back up to Wisconsin. So if you were counting, that was 8 places over 7 days, which means we were driving a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked it. I know Asher, I do definitely want to hear your perspective on this, but I know from me at least, the idea for the trip kind of came from a desire to just start driving and see where we end up.
Mm,
Which is not really how it turned out because there was a general plan of places that we wanted to go
yeah.
and stop in. But that would I would say, at least for me, that was the inspiration for how that idea got started and how it eventually came to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, I think I remember you being like, hey, I have spring break off. And I was like, sweet. Like I didn't have any other questions.
There you
I was
go.
like, road trip with Seth? Yeah, we're going.
We're doing it.
And I really didn't have many other questions the entire time. You pretty much mastermind like masterminded?
No, I get what you're trying to
Mastermind the whole thing. Yep.
master mount.
Mastermind. That's absolutely
That's a thing now, officially. And honestly, in
everybody go look up that word. I just put it into the Urban Dictionary, but I put it in as a fake name from 3 years ago, so I think it was actually in there.
you won't find it in Webster's dictionary now, but 10 years from now,
10 years from now,
mark our
watch
word.
out.
Um, yeah, I honestly, in hindsight, I kind of feel bad about that a little bit because there were some places that we both definitely wanted to go, but then there were other ones where it felt like you were kind of just along for the ride and were just like going because you knew that I wanted to.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, but it was your spring break and you'd come up with a good plan. So I was like, yeah. And it was good because would I have gone to see some of the things we did on my own? No. But
There you go.
I did and they were cool And even if they'd been stupid, I would have been there with you. So it would have been a good time still.
I appreciate that, bro. That means a lot to me. Uh,
But some of the places were stupid.
you know what? That's okay, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I know there's at least one stop that we made that I'm almost entirely certain was pretty much for my enjoyment.
There were things about every place and experience that we had that I was still able to I was still able to enjoy and find meaning in, even
Okay.
if it wasn't
Even if it wasn't like your
what
idea.
what I would have chose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Well, that's good because we got a lot of places to talk about.
yeah, we
Um,
do.
so yeah, I want to say we started the trip. Did we leave? I want to say like early Monday morning of that week. Pretty sure.
The first picture I have of it is March 14th.
And
And
what day of the week was that?
I'll put this in the post, but it's just Seth leaning against the van with his aviators on, looking like
Of
a
course it
total
was.
boss. He was like, I don't know if I don't know if you were like take a picture of me or if I just took the yeah, I forgot how it happened,
What
but
was that when? I think I actually remember that picture. Was that when we stopped at a gas station
yeah,
along the way? Yeah.
there's like a random like semi box
What was I wearing a pink t-shirt?
background. Yeah,
Yes, I do remember which
we
one you're talking
were.
about. Okay,
Yep.
nice. No, yeah, you're right. I do remember
I
that.
wanted to like look back on those pictures because pictures really help transport me back into the experience.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
100%. I'm actually gonna do that too, now that you mention it.
it's it's a trip down memory lane. This
Yes.
is when I had hair not only on the bottom part of my head, but also the top
The
part.
top part too.
Yeah.
Well, I
So,
bet you my hair was a lot shorter at that point, if I'm being
you had a hat on like the entire trip, I
that.
think.
Oh no, you're straight
So,
up, you're right. Now that I'm just looking through a few of them, yeah, almost every single one of these pictures I'm wearing a hat.
yep.
But so yeah, we we started driving and we just drove through Chicago. We had both been to Chicago a number of times before that, and
Plus Illinois, like
is the worst. I apologize to
I
all of
didn't say it. I didn't say it,
my. Hey, I'll take the blame for it. All
but
right.
I agree with it
I
100%.
I have a lot of opinions about Illinois, especially with the Packers Bears game coming up this Sunday. It's a big game. Um,
That Bears.
Dow Bears. For our Illinois listeners, because I know you're out there, I am glad that I don't live in Illinois. But to be fair,
I the longest pause.
as I'm trying to figure out
Seth
exactly.
knows that all the listeners in Illinois have the power to get the podcast entirely canceled.
Yep.
So he's choosing his words carefully.
Um, I have less than stellar opinions of Illinois, but to be fair, it's probably mostly based off Chicago, and I really don't know hardly anything at all about the southern part of the state. So, you know, just trying to be honest here. My my opinions might not be firmly based in reality. However, I'm so glad that we drove straight through it.
Yeah.
Um, so our first main stop was in Indianapolis, Indiana. The big I. Not the great I like Sauron, just capital I, like the letter. Um,
Thanks for clarifying.
in case y'all weren't clear on that. And yeah, that was good. I know we got there. I think we got there Monday night or like Monday, like late Monday evening or so, about like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And there was a state park that we walked through that
Mm,
I gotta say it was one of the weirder state parks that I had been in because it was right next to like a bustling
right.
urban city area. So it was
Yeah.
barely distinguishable from it, like it was still cool. Like it was on a riverfront and there were some nice areas to walk next to, but the fact that like if you turned around, you could just see massive skyscrapers behind you. It did make it a little weird.
It's yeah. The juxtaposition is great, but sometimes sometimes you just want one thing.
Sometimes you just juxta too much. It just
That is
you can't have too much.
juxtapositively horrible.
Dude, no, you know what I'm thinking of? You know, like in Pitch Perfect where they're like,
No.
where they're
Excuse me?
like, excuse me?
Oh
Excuse
no.
me?
Excuse
Oh,
me.
I apologize for that too.
Let's
That is horrible.
let's all collectively agree to never make that a
And to forget that I said that.
thing.
So
All
yeah,
good.
it's Indianapolis was a cool city, I thought. I know
Indianapolis was cool.
we we walked past one of the places we walked past was the NCAA Hall of Fame, which, as most of you and pro I would assume most of you know, is like the what does it stand for? It's like the National College Athletics Association, I think is what it technically stands for.
If you gave me some time, I could come up with a
Way more
way
fun,
better.
one
Yeah.
more fun name. But yeah, I didn't really know that that was there until we got there, so that was fun.
I don't
We
remember much from Indianapolis, honestly.
we didn't spend a ton of time there
Yeah.
because let's see, I know we walked past Lucas Oil Stadium, which is where the Colts play.
Yep.
Um, Unfortunately, weren't able to go inside. I really do want to at some point because a lot of people would say that the Colts Stadium, it's one of the coolest ones in the NFL. But we got a few pictures of some of the statues outside the stadium. Personally, for me, one of the coolest things was getting a picture outside of St. Elmo's Steakhouse. And
Yes. Okay.
we did not eat there.
That day is coming back to me a little bit
Okay,
now.
there we go. We did not eat there because I looked up the price and we were both gonna have to drop like $100 into
Mucho, mucho dinero.
which probably would have been good. And in a different situation, I definitely want to go there and eat there. However,
When we're Los Angeles ballers, we'll go.
that's right. But we were Wisconsin bummers and we
Dang.
we did
Really
not have the
puts it
money
in
for that
perspective.
for this trip. Given the fact that our lodging situation for the trip was interesting, and we'll get to that. But the reason I wanted to,
Honestly, one of the reasons that the trip was so iconic, though.
oh, I 100% agree, and I'm really glad that we did it. Um, which again, all the listeners are like, what are they talking about? They haven't mentioned it yet. Just be patient, right?
Hold on to your horses.
We're getting there. But the reason I wanted to get a picture outside of this steakhouse was because I had heard it referenced from two different sources. One was a different podcast that I listened to. It's another NFL one, but it's not fantasy specific. It's just an NFL one, just in general. And that's actually, I think that's my most listened to podcast. Because like I enjoy the NFL, but the guys that host it are also super funny and make a lot of pop culture references. Um, so yeah, shout out to the Around the NFL podcast. Anyway, I know that the NFL Combine has been in Indianapolis for quite a few years now. I don't know if they plan on changing that. And the guys in the podcast would say that every time they would go to Indianapolis for the Combine, they would get dinner at this steakhouse. And so that was one reason. But it's also referenced in Parks and Recreation. In
Really?
Yes, it is.
Remember this episode.
I don't think I actually realized that at the time, but when I rewatched the show, I think it's in the episode where someone's getting married. I think it's the episode it's Ben's bachelor party
Oh,
where where at first like they're all just like hanging out in his house playing board games and drinking beer and like Ben's having a good time, but everyone else is kind of bored. And then they go around and they have a night where they all just kind of like take turns doing what each person wants to do. So it's like a group bachelor party that like everyone gets a say in.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure Ron's decision was to go to St. Elmo Steakhouse. And so, yeah. And of course,
Isn't the third reason you wanted to go there because your patron saint is actually Saint Elmo?
maybe that would be news to me if that were indeed the case.
No, I looked it up. It is
You're kidding, right?
for legal reasons, yes.
Okay. I was gonna say I I
I
apologize.
don't think you could really look that kind of thing up
Well, I don't know a lot about
unless you had it in your like Wikipedia bio or something.
I don't know a lot about how patron saints work. So yeah, that's why I was questioning.
If
Anyway,
you're a patron at enough bars, you get a yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not it. Oh well. So yeah, we did not eat there. Got a picture with me outside of it. And then pretty sure didn't we eat dinner at PF Chang's that night?
Yeah, we did. But before that, I remember um there was like this it was like a garden in the city,
Huh.
like in front of these museums, I'm pretty sure. I remember us like walking through that and like doing some parkour on the railings and
Oh yeah?
having some fun there. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Oh
I'm
no.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was that day.
No, you're right. But I think yeah, that was earlier though. That
That
was
was there were like fountains
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. I think that was
railings and
technically
stuff.
part of the state park. I want
Okay,
yeah,
might have been. But then yes, we did splurge a little bit for the first night.
we did. Which for a lot of you, you might not think that PF Chang's is that big of a deal or that fancy. And like, yeah, it wasn't like super fancy. Um, but I don't think at the time I hadn't eaten there before. And Asher, I'm pretty sure you hadn't eaten there before either, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. And so for us, that was a new experience. New food. It was good. Like
It's fine.
it's a nice sit down Asian restaurant, you know.
Right.
Um, and so that was actually something really. I don't know if we had planned to do this, but I'm glad it worked out that way. That for for all the days, I'm pretty much sure what we did for meals was we brought some groceries along, and so we would kind of just like make ourselves a lunch on most days. But then each night we would stop somewhere for food.
Yep.
And for all those nights that we stopped for food, we stopped somewhere that both of us had never eaten at before. Pretty sure.
Yeah, we were excited about that.
And I'm
PF
really
Chang's
surprised about that.
obviously isn't like super Indiana local, but
Right. It's not like a local backwater place. But it was new for us. And that's what mattered. So
I don't think any of our
there was one. There was one, and we'll get there. There's one that I distinctly remember that is very local, backwater, like backwoods diner type deal. And I'm
I'll
sure
remember it when we get to
you'll
it.
you'll you'll remember it. This was my favorite place that we ate. But yeah, no, Indianapolis, it's a really cool city. I've been there since for it was actually right around this time last year I was there for a missions conference for InterVarsity. So I was able to explore the city a little bit more. Yeah, cool city. Glad we stopped. Um,
Just more like architecturally cool and less like nature cool.
dude, oh man, yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think I remember one of the things we were talking about as we were walking through the city was that you had made a comment on like the architecture or something. And I'm
I know.
like,
Yeah.
dude, we are so old that now we're commenting on like, oh man, that's some good architecture there. Like,
Oh wow.
wonder what that's made out of, and I wonder when that was built. Uh,
I think that trip was like one of the first times I really realized that I somewhat cared about architecture,
Sure. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean,
which is like it's weird that like it took going to Indianapolis. I've been places that are much more architecturally impressive than that, but
right. Yeah. Yeah,
it
exactly.
was kind of like that's when I realized it.
Actually took the time
Not
to think about it.
right. Yeah.
You know. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't spend a ton of time in Indianapolis. We got there, spent the afternoon and ate dinner there, and then I think we kept right on trucking after that, from what I can
Yeah,
remember.
I remember and I remember waking up in Indianapolis.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so. Did we?
See,
Did
see,
we drive? No. Did we
I thought
drive that night?
I thought we did because
Okay.
the next place that we went to was Cincinnati,
Yep.
and I remember. So this is where we can finally shed a little bit of light on our lodging situation. For most of the nights, except for one, which we'll get to later, and I'm sorry I
Yeah.
keep saying that. Um, but for most of the nights in whatever city we decided to stop in, we would just find a Walmart, park there overnight, and just sleep in the back of my van, which
Pretty
was
hardcore.
honestly so much fun.
It was.
I am so glad we did that.
Really the only downside to that was like spending a half hour every night moving stuff around in the van so
Yes.
we could like lay down.
Yep. No, that's definitely true. Because what we had to do was so obviously when we were just driving around or during the day, we would have just all of our stuff in the back, and then every night we would have to um shove it up either to right behind the front seats or put most of it even in like the passenger seat area, and you know just so that we would have room. Because in the end, we actually did have room to sprawl out, which was
Oh
nice.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember sleeping like with as much room as I needed.
Yeah. No, honestly, I I don't really remember there ever being a night where I got up the next morning and I was like, "Oh man, I only got like an hour of sleep last night."
Yeah.
Like obviously it wasn't the most comfortable thing we could have been doing, but it was fun. Like we had a couple of they weren't yoga mats, but they were like kind of like
Like camp mats.
camp mats. Yeah, exactly. That we would lay down on the on the floor of my car. We had blankets or no, we used sleeping. We definitely had our sleeping bag.
Yeah, had our sleeping bags for sure. And then I think also some blankets.
Yep, few blankets. I know that we rigged up a kind of system where we used at least one blanket to block out the light from like the
Yeah.
lampposts that were in the Walmart parking lot.
Yep.
Uh, which that's why I said ingenuity at the beginning of this episode because we were thinking and it worked. So
If there's one thing that can be said for men, it's that if faced with adversity, they might not find a good way, but they'll find
we'll
a
find
way
our
through
way.
it.
Yeah, exactly. No, because I guarantee I'm pretty sure we held it up using duct tape, you know, or something like that. But
Probably. But you know what? It worked. It was that's like it was that was the definition of it's not pretty, but it'll work.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we did that. I'm pretty sure that we drove that night and made it to Cincinnati, and that was our first Walmart that we slept in. Because and
Okay.
the reason I say that is because the next morning, do you remember like the couple geese that were
Yes,
in the
dude.
parking lot?
Yes.
Dude,
There's a video of me on Seth's phone.
yeah, I've got it. We might have to post that too.
We might have to post that. There's a lot of I don't really have many good pictures of this trip. I
Uh,
just have like I have a few good ones of Seth and some like cringy ones of both of us. But Seth has this video of me having this straight up standoff with a Canada goose.
Oh yeah.
And
It was
it
kind of
was
terrifying for
it
me.
was intense.
I'm I'm I'll put that out there. Like I sent Asher out there because I didn't want to have to deal with it. Just being honest.
I don't think I had ever wanted to fight a goose before, but that morning, I don't know, something about sleeping in the van and this goose just absolutely terrifying my friend Seth. It it got me
I feel
it
like
got my blood boiling.
it kind of unlocked your maternal instinct a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
Like you felt like you were defending your young, you know,
Yep. Yep.
which
The mama bear in me came
and
out.
honestly I think that's why the goose was so aggressive. I think because there was more than one. There was multiple.
Mm. Yep.
And so I think that there was like there was something territorial going on where
There was family drama. I think one of the geese was talking some shade about another
yeah,
goose.
it's like oh what's it called? The uh Housewives of Geese parking lot edition. You know?
Oh
Like
my gosh. Real House Geese of
yes,
America.
there it is. Real House Geese of Walmart.
That,
Dude,
that's a show that should be
you
made.
got to make that show. That's got to happen.
AMC, have I got a pitch for you?
And so yeah, that was an interesting way to wake up. And I'm pretty sure that was Cincinnati where we slept that night because that day we I think the Walmart that we had found was technically in like a tiny suburb just outside of Cincinnati. And then we drove into the city that morning and
Yeah.
found a parking garage. And
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest to anyone who lives in Cincinnati, this is not personal, I promise. But I found Cincinnati to be kind of underwhelming, honestly.
Hmm.
Not gonna lie. It,
Again, some cool architecture though.
I mean, yeah. Like I know that we walked past Great American Ballpark, which is where the Reds play. Again, I can't hype that up too much because the Reds are a rival of the Brewers. So, but it was kind of fun to see that. You're right. As I'm looking through pictures now, there were some really nice buildings in the area. I just found a picture of you here. You saw a really nice motorcycle that was like parked outside
Yeah.
a business, and you like went up and like are crouched next to it and just like checking it out. And I'm like, I really hope some like big muscular guy doesn't come out and just like beat the crap out of you.
Hey, Bubba,
Um,
what are you doing touching my ride?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Cincinnati, the city is right on the border of the Ohio River, which is a cool fact. It would be cooler if the river didn't suck.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. It's
because
a bit
like
scummy.
yeah, it was really brown.
Hmm.
Um,
The bridge was cool.
yes. Oh,
Remember
yeah,
walking on the bridge.
bridge that we crossed was really cool. That goes.
And right next to the bridge, there was this really cool like park and
Yes.
playground.
No, no, you're definitely right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Seth and I, it was like maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, and we're on this playground, and all the Real Housewives of Cincinnati were like, "What are you guys doing here?"
Yeah. I feel like it didn't look super weird because there were two of us. If it would have been just you or me individually there, just like hanging out and like we didn't have our kids there,
Oh yeah, right.
like that
Just
definitely
watching.
that definitely would have been a little skeevy for
Yeah.
sure. Um,
We were like talking with each other, and not talking to the children.
Yeah, obviously, like, yeah, we weren't talking. Like, I don't. No one actually thought that we were doing anything. But no, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about that. But there was this, wasn't there like the flying pig structure?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was so weird.
I didn't get on it obviously because pigs are unclean, and that's yeah, I didn't get anywhere near it. But it was cool for Seth to be able to
You are lying
go
out
and
of your
play
butt
on
right now. I
it.
distinctly remember you being all over it. If I could go so
Oh,
far as to
whoa,
say
whoa,
that,
whoa. I definitely went on it,
you.
messed around with the wings. It was
I have
cool.
a lot of
Yeah.
other things that I want to say, but I'm going to have self-control and not say them because this is a family show, and that needs to remain an inside thought. What I was just about to
Da,
say.
da, 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 da. Welcome back to the family show.
No, that was a cool structure though. It was kind of random.
It
I don't
was,
really
yeah.
remember. Wonder. I don't remember why it was there or if it had any significance to the city. I do. There's a picture. The bridge that we crossed was called the John A. Roebling Bridge, or Rebling. It might be pronounced Rebling. I've got a. I apparently I took a picture of like a plaque that was right next to it, so that's how I remember that. But yeah, no, it like I guess I was being kind of negative about it. It was not a bad city. I guess just
It was, yeah, it was cool to walk around.
compared to like some of the other places that we went to next for
Yeah.
the rest of the trip, probably ranked a little bit lower. But yeah, no, it was fun to walk around. We saw the main building for Kroger because they are incorporated in Cincinnati. Found that out. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else about Cincinnati? I feel like we didn't really stay there long either.
No. Yeah. I mean, what did we eat in Cincinnati?
I don't think we did. Like,
We fasted that day.
I
No.
no, I think that was the day that, or no, like I think we just ate our lunch there, like our pack
Mm,
lunch,
yeah.
because yes, okay, it's coming back to me little by little now, the specific timeline of what happened, because I think from there we drove to Louisville. Uh,
Yep. Because I have pictures of like the sunset that day out of our car. We were definitely driving that evening.
yes, yeah, we definitely were, but I think we actually got to Louisville relatively early in the afternoon. I want to say like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I think we got to Louisville. Uh, because that day,
Yep.
this was definitely the stop on the trip where I feel the most like I really wanted to do this thing, and Asher didn't really care all that much, but he cared about being with me, and so he
Yep.
went. And it was the Louisville Slugger Museum, which I'm personally really glad we
Louisville.
went.
Yeah.
Asher, I'll be like, so if some of you might not know this, but I love baseball. It's definitely my favorite sport out of all the major sports. I've
Seth
been,
is just a good old American boy.
that's right. You know, got to enjoy all of America's greatest. Uh,
America.
but yeah, I have been wanting to go for a long time because they inside the museum they have a lot of cool artifacts, you know, or I don't know if that's technically the right word for it, but just, relics maybe would be a better word for it. Um, of like baseball past, of like different bats that were used by different players. The tour that we took showed us the process of how the bats are made.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was super cool because it's not as easy as I thought it was.
Right.
Going
I mean, that tour was the same, like it was interesting for the same reason that like watching that guy on YouTube, how it's made.
Sure.
Like those videos to me, I don't know, for some reason I really like those videos because it's never as simple as you think. There's always more like more hands on a project or on a product than you think.
Yeah,
and more steps. And yeah, it's cool to see the craftsmanship.
absolutely. And so we did that. I took batting practice while we were there.
Oof.
And
Yeah.
it was Christian Yelich's bat. I don't know if it was one that he actually used in a game. I think it was just a replica of the exact like length
Like
and
his
like
design.
his design of bat
Yeah.
that he uses. That was really cool that I got to do that. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of sucked. I was really rusty from my playing days back when I was a youngin'. And to be fair, Yelich is also just really tall. I think he's 6'3" or 6'4", which is pretty
I
tall.
feel I feel like no, I feel like we're both, I mean,
Oh yeah, no, never mind. Well, yeah, we're
pretty
both this height.
close to that.
Yeah, we're Asher and I are just towering individuals, if you guys didn't know. Like, we walk into a room and people are like, "Oh man, watch out for them two," you know?
Whoa, the towering guys are here.
Yeah. The TG's back.
Look up. That's the only way you'll see their faces.
That's right.
Oh.
Um, no,
Uh,
unfortunately, Asher and I are both pretty short, which, I was insecure about it for a while. I have come to terms with it. Asher, I don't know if I can,
we
I won't speak for you, but
we were born too late. You know, if we were born earlier in the creation of the world, we could have been hobbits or dwarves or something, but that we're just
dude,
below average height men.
being a hobbit would be so much fun. Their their lifestyle of just eating
A lot
and
of eating, which is yeah,
enjoying the simple things, drinking good ale, you know.
parties,
That's right.
animal husbandry.
Oh, okay. Does that mean what I think it means?
What do you think it means?
I definitely so
I'm gonna head you off here. Animal husbandry means taking care of animals and doing so in a way that's advantageous for the person that's taking care of them. So like if how would you say that?
well, wouldn't that mean like most farmers
Right.
would
Yeah.
well, oh, okay. That wow.
It doesn't it does it sounds weird, but it's honestly nothing weird.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Then
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. That is what hobbits do.
Mhm.
Uh, Man, that blew my mind. I learned something new today. That I'm really glad that's what it actually means. What I thought
Yep.
was definitely something way worse. Um,
Yeah. No, I could see where you're yeah. Could
uh,
see the gears grinding a little bit, so
yeah, I'm glad we stopped grinding. Oh, jeez. Oh, what is happening today,
And we'll be right back after a short commercial break.
guys? We gotta take a quick pit stop, and I gotta level
Wow.
with you guys here. I
Pause.
so my wife has been gone for the last several days. She is in Florida right now, and with the exception of one day where I was kind of just like hanging out in Milwaukee for most of the day, I've really just had the apartment to myself for a few days here now.
That's going a scooch baddie.
We're It's getting a little weird here, guys. It's good thing my wife is coming back tomorrow. The first day that she was gone was really it was fun. Like I was able to clean the apartment and there's like this Lego set that I've been working on that I was really able to put some work into. But then like especially yesterday though, it was just another day of being in the apartment and I'm probably getting a little stir crazy. Um, but here we are. We're recording. We rally.
We
And,
rally. Dang.
um,
Yep.
ah, life is good, guys. God is good.
All the
Um,
time.
all the time, God is good. Just we're gonna put that out there too. Anyway, what were we even talking about? I don't. What part of the story are we even on? I think we're in Louisville, right?
We are in Louisville, yes.
Louisville.
Luis.
So yeah, overall, that was probably the briefest stop that we took because I pretty much just wanted to stop in Louisville for the Louisville Slugger Museum.
Didn't we see something else while we were
Oh no, did we?
in Louisville?
I'm pretty sure we didn't really walk around the city much besides just
No, yeah, you're right. Because I think part of our decision making process was that parking cost a lot.
yes. Yeah. And
So
so we did pay for parking in a lot of the places that we went to, but you know, yeah, we didn't want to stay in any one place for too long because we didn't want to rack up the parking costs. But um so yeah, I think that takes us into that Tuesday evening or so. And so that night, I know we stopped at Bojangles for dinner.
yeah, that's right.
Mm, which again, nothing fancy. It's just
Nope.
your,
Just a just a chicken sandwich.
it's a chicken place, but we don't have them around around our neck of the woods here in Wisconsin. So we figured we'd try it. It was fine.
Yeah,
You know, uh,
passable.
enjoyed my meal. I'm pretty sure that was in Lexington that we stopped to do that. And then I don't know how much further we'll go today because we're getting a little short on time. But the story is just beginning, guys.
Yeah.
We we haven't even gotten to the good part yet.
This episode is really just the appetizer
Yes.
for by far the best part of the trip. I think I mean the best part of the trip for me for sure. I think also for you, Seth.
I would definitely agree
Yeah.
that yes, this next part
Which
we talked about.
this is one of the strengths of this trip. We went to Indianapolis. Cool. Whatever. Like I might go back for specific things. We went to Cincinnati. Fine. Cool city. But then there were other places that we'll get to in the story that I would want to spend way more time at because we only had the taste of it and we could have spent the whole week of the trip just there.
I agree. And at some point I want to go back and actually spend a full week there.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think we should probably stop here. I think, but to give just a little bit of a sneak peek into what's
Ooh.
coming, I will say that this next place that we went to had us staying in slash next to definitely the smallest town of the trip that we spent any significant time in. There were several times where we had no cell service and we weren't sure where to go.
What does this mean?
So what did
Such
Asher
a
and I
vague
do?
clue.
What did Asher and I do to get out of that problem? You'll have to listen next time. There it is. I'm just gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna let you guys sit
Dang.
in the suspense.
2 weeks.
I know,
The man's cruel.
I know. I'm I'm good at my job. What can I say?
Cruel but
You,
fair.
you gotta leave them wanting more. You know what can I say? Hey, I'm working here. You know.
I do know.
Uh, but yeah, before we leave you guys, as always, we've got our adventure microdoses for this week. Asher, what do we got for us?
Yeah, so this is I'm switching it up a little bit this week. Um and I'm going with micro dose. This is a pretty small adventure.
Drilling deep
Um
down.
yeah. So as many of you know, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before. I recently started um working on an ambulance crew and at my service we always usually we have two ambulances that we staff. And each ambulance, in order to be, it's called ALS or Advanced Life Support Certified. Um, you need a paramedic and an EMT. So I'm the EMT, so every shift I'm usually working with a paramedic
Asher,
and
what does EMT stand
emergency medical technician.
for?
So
I actually didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. So we have a semester. I think it might depend on this. Well, no. EMT is like a nationally registered thing.
Sure.
So all over the country, you take a semester class,
Yeah, and
and then
I guess I just realized I never really thought about what it stood for. Everyone just calls it an EMT.
right, or if you're my sister, an ATM. That's another story. But um,
I actually just learned what that stands for too. So,
really,
Mhm.
huh.
Do you know what it stands
You're
for?
just your brain must be hurting like
I'm learning so many new
all
things.
this knowledge that you're acquiring.
For those of you who do not know what ATM means, it stands for Automated Teller Machine. So
Bada bing.
that's right.
So many acronyms.
We are
So little time.
we are educational here at the Living Uncharted podcast. We want our listening audience to understand the world.
Because imagine what it would feel like to like hear back from a fan of the podcast and be like, they're like, oh, somebody was like, what does this acronym mean? And I heard it on your podcast, and then I told them, and they're like, how did you know that? And I was like, I just do.
Or when that
That's a
happens,
very specific
when
scenario, but
in that specific scenario, you can say, you know how I know? Listen to the Living Uncharted podcast, and you'll find out. Anyway, Asher, please continue with your story.
yeah. So this particular shift, this was Tuesday. I was working with this paramedic. I won't mention his name because I mean if we keep working together, I'll probably have more stories with him. Might need to get him on the podcast. But anyway,
For literal
um
legal reasons, we will not mention his name.
right, for actual legal reasons. But we were just kind of in between calls and we were talking about music and I was like, so like, yeah, like what do you listen to? And he was like, well, how about this? How about this? I was like, okay, I'm interested. He's like, how about we bring up YouTube and I'll play a song and you play a song that like you think the other person might like or like one of your favorite songs and we'll just swap music. And I was like, all right, yeah. Like let's do a few songs. We sat and did this for like 2 hours.
Oh, that's awesome.
And um it's a really good way to get to know someone,
Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely.
I've worked with him maybe three shifts now. So you talk a little bit, but like you're getting into music, like that's how you know someone, I feel like.
Absolutely.
And we both had like very different it would be like a country song and then an EDM song and then some kind of folk song. He was like he played this song. I think her name's Mean Marie. Mean Mary. Yeah. And she is like this banjo wizard. It was insane. I was like, where do you even learn about music like this? But yeah, it was really fun. We stayed up way too late. Um,
I mean, you're still getting
and
paid for it though, right?
we were still getting paid for it, but you know, waking up at 6:30 to clean the station and wash the rig comes real quick. It's
Yeah.
just it
Yep.
just time keeps marching on. So, but yeah, that's my microdose. It was fun, and I'll probably have many more EMS microdoses in the future. So,
That's really cool. I feel like that really can't think of the word right now, but that really shows
encapsulates.
it sure encapsulates a principle that I think our guest Ryan brought up a lot, where like, he talked about one, just like the importance of music
Yeah,
a lot in terms of how it affects people. And
it's like very it's very hard not to like tie part of who you are to the music you listen to.
yeah,
For me,
oh,
anyway. I don't
100%,
know if it's that
100%.
way for you, but
I feel like that's how why most people listen to music because there's some sort of emotion or
yeah.
lyric or vibe that you get from it that
Hmm.
really you really agree with or you
Yeah.
can understand it. It resonates with you, you
A
know.
feeling that you couldn't put into words and
Yeah, yeah.
somebody.
Well, and like in this particular example, it was really cool that you guys did this because you both now probably have been exposed to music that you
Yep.
probably would not.
Yeah. Never would have found ever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the adventure, if I can be so cliche, of just like
Yeah.
those small moments where it's just like the little things that widen your horizon and you're exposed to new things that can change you and that might affect you in ways that you might not have expected, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. As I was thinking of, I was like, well, like what adventure have I been on recently? I was like, you know what? Just like listening to some new music and getting to know a coworker better, like that is an adventure in itself.
Absolutely.
Hit us with it, Seth.
Yeah. So I've actually got a couple that I want to mention, so I'll try to keep them both pretty short.
Or
Um,
don't.
or don't. This episode
Just tell us your story, Seth.
this episode has already gone back crap off the rails already. So, you know. So yeah, like I
The
said,
people know what they're getting into.
that's right. Um, so this week, like I said, my wife is in Florida right now. School has been out for a couple weeks. Holidays are over, and I don't start my job until Monday. So this week, I really didn't have much to do. But then a parent or a friend's parent that I knew from high school, well, I guess from college too. Yeah. Like we went to high school together. We both go to Madison, but we don't see each other much anymore. Anyway, saw our post on Facebook that they needed judges for a speech and debate tournament that was coming up this week. And it was through the organization that I used to do speech and debate tournaments when I was in high school. And so I was like, this is actually really good timing. I don't have anything else I could be doing. And I, I hadn't gotten the opportunity to judge one of those tournaments since I had stopped competing. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
A
So
little nostalgia.
absolutely. All day Wednesday, I was in basically Milwaukee. I think it was technically in Brookfield. But all day Wednesday, I was there and judged a bunch of different types of speech and debate. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see what it's like from the other side of the table.
I'm sure, yeah. Get
Um,
that perspective.
because I had competed in various forms of speech and debate. And so now I got to judge other people doing it. And like judge may sound like an intense word, but it's really just it's a really cool opportunity to encourage the kids that are doing it and provide constructive criticism on what they're doing. And so it's a blessing for them, but it was also really a blessing for me because there's so many different categories of speeches, and these are all very gifted. And like honestly, I might actually take that back. Like there are some people that are better speakers than others, but they all really care about the message that they're trying to share. And so there'll be some where it would talk about like a deep emotional topic that's meant to tug on your heartstrings. And there's other ones where it's just meant to be funny and have you like rolling in the aisles. And both of those things are super valuable, you know. On some of the comments that I was leaving on ballots, I would say stuff like, hey, I really like this story that you told. This was really inspiring. Or like, so like for a lot of the speeches, your comments that you give are broken down by different categories, and one of the categories is impact. Like, how much did
Mm.
this impact you? How much would this message like impact society as a whole? And there's some where it's really obvious what the impact is, and then there was one where it's just like it was really just a really funny speech. And what I wrote in my comment for impact was, this speech made me laugh so hard, and in today's day and age, sometimes that's impact enough,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah, it was a really fun time. Really enjoyed being able to just go and volunteer my time to do this. And for most of the speech rounds, there's three judges in the room, so it's not just your opinion on who wins. But I did judge one debate round, and I was the only judge in the room, so
Dang.
I was the sole determinant of who won the round.
The
Um,
the arbiter.
yeah, which that's it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like in the preliminary rounds, each team debates 6 times, so that's enough times to be able to flatten out any like individual judges' opinions. Where usually the better teams are the ones that end up competing in like the playoff.
Sure.
But yeah, that was a really good day. Glad I got to do that. And then this next one happened today. This one's actually, excuse me, really short. So this Lego set that I've been working on, it's not official Lego. It's one of the knockoff brands, and my mother-in-law gave it to us to work on, which I really appreciate that. Thanks, Sarah. And but one of the issues when you have knockoff brand Lego sets is that sometimes the like putting together the set is not as like when they're designing the set, it's not as precise as when Lego does it. And so every once in a while there'll be pieces missing or the pieces won't fit together correctly, etc. And
That's why you have to use super glue on every course.
the Lego movie said that we shouldn't do that, Asher, because
Well,
that's mean.
do you know who was in the Lego movie? Seth? Do you know that?
Will Ferrell.
That's right, buddy boy.
He just keeps coming up. It just
The
seems like
3 degrees of Will Ferrell.
it would be wrong for us to not have him on with how
It
many
would be.
times.
It'd be a crying shame.
Um. Anyway, I was building this set yesterday, and I got to a spot where they gave me the wrong piece, and so I couldn't keep going. And I was like, "Well, crap! Like either I don't finish it, or like I try to order the piece online, but that's going to be kind of expensive, and even if I can find it, it might not be the right piece when they actually send it to me." But it turns out there is a shop in Fitchburg, which is right outside of Madison, where it's called Bricks and Minifigs. And it's just a store that is dedicated to selling like older retired Legos. And like they have this
Oh,
massive like table just like filled with stray pieces that you can just, like
dude,
sort through it and you can like buy any pieces you want.
that's
Um, it was super cool. I think my Rowan was actually the one who told me about it. And I was able to find the piece that I needed. And so I walk up to someone who works there and I was like, hey, can you just buy individual pieces? And she was like, yep. And I was like, is there a minimum number of pieces you need to buy? And she was like, nope. And I was like, okay, I just want to buy this. And she's like, oh, you only want one piece? You can just take it for free.
dude.
And I was like,
Nice.
sweet. So yeah,
Little did she know that one piece was selling for $30,000 on eBay.
I highly doubt it. It's just a pretty standard 8x8 gray base plate. So
You just come back like every couple weeks dressed as a a new person.
different guy. Like,
And you're like,
oh, I like
you
this piece.
pretend to be surprised that they give you a free piece
Right.
every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
I did have that thought of like if I
Of
really
abusing the
want
system.
if I really wanted to milk this out, I probably could, but
Yeah.
I don't plan on doing that. I know they're a small business. I appreciate that a place like that exists. And so honestly, like in the future, I'm probably gonna try and go back and maybe every once in a while just like make a purchase just to support them because like I think I want them to stay in business. So
Yeah. You want that kind of thing around.
yep. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for listening, guys. I know it was a wild ride that had a ton of tangents, but hopefully you
But
got something.
yep, we both are fighting for our lives in these, but no. um yeah, we have a ton of fun making them and just chatting it up and telling some cool stories for you guys. Um,
Absolutely. Stay tuned next week. You don't want to miss the rest of the story. All right. Signing off. Until next time.
you guys soon.
Go forth and live uncharted.